Yep. So I would like to thank you that you was with us for this 50-minute interview. Um, the good point that Sabina is with us here. So I think she can answer your questions. She can elaborate more about the point. But I would like to bring few things that from the interview. For example, Sabina gave very clear examples about how she got money from the business sector, and then she succeeded to use this money in order to build the connection between academia and academia. And then again, she started to put this money in or to do some teaching activity, include master students, include PhD students in these things. So I think this is a good example of the success. She highlighted at the one or the last part of the session that the number of the students is dropped in geology, and we have a comment from you, Milana. She said that we have a problem also in philosophy, like dropping in the number. And also we have a comment from Milana. She said that how we can do the same approach in philosophy. So maybe this will be point of discussion. But the good thing that during the last workshop that was ended last week, at the beginning, at the first session, we had the same questions. So we had two professors from the medical school, and they highlighted, okay, this is nice interviews, this is good idea, but how we can do that? And the point is that we will have a month's work from now until the 10th of January, where we have the conclusion session. And during this month's work, we just try to just like brainstorming how we can do that. And the people who joined the previous workshop, they succeeded to come with good projects. Even one of them, he studying linguistic, and he came with a course that will be taught by 5 or 6 professors. So within this frame of the linguistic, but different topics. So maybe we can find something. So I would like to open the discussion about Sabina. I don't know if you would like to have the discussion now, and then we can have sort of long lunch break, and then we come back at something like 12:30 or so, or you would like to have a short break now and then another break for lunch. So depend on what you like.
Personally, it's too early for lunch.
Yes, I mean just a very short one, like 5 minutes
I was
for.
say it's only 11 o'clock.
Yeah. So you like to just continue with some discussion. Yeah, super.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have direct question to Sabina. This is great to have Sabina here. So I think this is the only interview that we will have the person that interviewed with us. The rest will be just recorded and then we can discuss. So maybe you can start from Melina, for example, because you highlighted this dropping in the number and how we can create this cross-disciplinary courses in your topic, for example.
I can elaborate a little bit more the problem that we have, because in a sense dropouts is something that we might have all in common here. We have this demographic issue in the region, so we are expecting to have less and less students. At the same time, it comes this pressure from like a new liberal academia that we have like a minimum numbers of students in order to make the course to pay itself, and this number is 20. For some fields it will go, but for philosophy it won't. It's just too high number, and most of our students, philosophy students, they main work after is academia, and producing a relatively low number of students is good because everyone finds a job. We have Xfil in Norway that every student goes through an introduction course of philosophy, which creates a lot of jobs. So we don't have a problem right now of unemployed students, but if we increase the number, there will be and if we focus on transferable skills, where philosophers could work, this is perhaps is my lack of imagination, but where could they work outside academia? Do you have any some thoughts? It's a difficult question, I know, but if you can point me to a direction where I can start looking at least. Sabina, thanks.
For me, for
Mm.
question for me, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so I was thinking that only natural disciplines have a problem with hiring number of students because and especially in geology, we see that. And I said during the interview in Europe, but it seems that it's really broader. So even in Australia, one country that basically lives from mineral resources, they have started to close geological departments because of low number of students. And I think this thing that Melina, that you emphasize, do we really need more people? So maybe in some countries, but also honestly, in Norway, we have 4 or 5 universities that educate students of geology, and they have a really kind of big capacity. So do we have to educate, like, I don't know, 300 new geologists per year? Probably we don't, maybe at some point, but not for on the long run. And I suppose that same thing it's with philosophy. So maybe you don't have to educate 20 students in any of a Norwegian university, and then when you multiply that by number of universities, then you're again ending up with really enormous number of people that will never find their jobs on the market. So I think that maybe we should kind of phrase that to policy makers better, that they should be, someone who is kind of regulating how many students we have to have before they close us, that they should be aware that there are different disciplines, and that there are disciplines where you need more people and disciplines where you don't need more people, but they are equally important. Because at the end of the day, you cannot just say, okay, we don't need philosophers and we will close all departments that educate students. That also it's pretty bad decision. So maybe we should kind of focus this question to someone who is deciding about our future in terms of number of students.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, I don't answer on your second question, where people with education in philosophy can work apart from academia or education in general. But this is just because I lack that knowledge of philosophy. So sorry for that.
I have a comment, just a short comment on you, Melina, and then we will get the question from Christina. But again, I can't answer your question. Maybe other can, about the philosophy and how we can put the philosophy outside the academia somehow. But from all of our point of view, any one of us who get his PhD, it's doctoral philosophy of geology, doctoral philosophy of something. So philosophy is the fundamental thing in our life. But how we can bring it to the market, this is the point. So Christina?
Yes, hi. So no, actually, I'm also commenting on Melina, not so much asking a question, but possible, I don't know, ideas. I think the dropping of students in philosophy isn't something recent. And it's worry about jobs, because just to give you an idea, my father started studying philosophy in university in the United States in I guess it was the 60s. And after two years, he switched to business administration because he realized he didn't want to starve to death. That's how he used to put it. And then he would always tell us that he was a philosopher at heart. And yes, when I went away to study, you should have seen the letters he sent me. I remember receiving one of them in my high school philosophy class, actually, a letter written from him. I was reading it in hiding in class and going, this is very appropriate for this class. But it did give him a good education. He was very grateful for having done it. But so there has been an issue with the labor market for philosophy for, well, at least 60 years now. It's nothing new. I think one aspect that could be done is looking at how the knowledge, what students of philosophy learn how they can bring it to the skills they learned, the way of thinking, of seeing the world, how it could bring added value to other industries. Like in terms of ethics, for example. I mean, like Sana mentioned, I'm not an expert in philosophy. Other than what I studied in high school, I'm out of it. But I've touched on many different disciplines and worked through the work I do with the international projects. And I have seen a number of areas where you've got a whole lot of ethics issues, or just people who could use something, help with ways of thinking, of designing things, of being able to see different sides to a coin. So those are their fields that if philosophy could expand to look for a more applied side to it. I mean, and it's funny because Sabina was just talking about fundamentals and keep fundamentals. It's also important, but I think in the case of philosophy, it would benefit from looking, but it would mean a degree overhaul, because that's a way to attract students as well, to show that new courses, but looking at philosophy in business, philosophy in education, including some courses or areas that are applied that can showcase, and also start working to kind of create a labor market, because you also have to, you definitely, in their case, you need to include with your students other skills that could help them insert into a company and work. So maybe closely related with psychology as well. I'm just some thoughts there, but to reach out for that. And then in terms of the teaching of the department, like Tamer just mentioned, everyone who does a PhD is officially a doctor in philosophy of something. And how many people actually study any kind of philosophy? I think it's a shame that it isn't included in one of the more core competences that they need to develop. And it could be an interesting idea of discussing with your university what aspects. I mean, you're not going to have them start going through a whole philosophical study of the philosophers from, Plato and backwards onto, let's go through Kant and Descartes and modern up to the I don't know the 21st century ones anymore, because like I said, high school. But certain core thoughts or way of thinkings or activities that could be useful for students in other disciplines, to keep this in mind. So
fantastic. Yeah, wonderful. You gave me a lot of ideas, and I think for philosophers it's very difficult to think outside the box right in this question. Like, we are used to think outside the box for every other question, but when it seems when it comes to the job market, like, we don't see other things than academia. So you gave me a lot of very, very good ideas. Thanks.
happy to help.
I have a comment on Christina comment, and then I will go to Xavi and then Zena. So actually, this is the main aim of this workshop. Try to just brainstorm and try to get some solution. For example, for you, Melina, and I can highlight just 2 points for Christina comment. That first, we can look together about what is the market, the job market outside the university, outside the academia need. And then we can start to think how we can make like courses that link philosophy with such needs. So it will be again a cross-disciplinary courses. In the second point, within the academia, that every one of us has a doctorate degree of philosophy, but no one of us study philosophy actually. So you can suggest something, like you can suggest to the leader at your institute or at some level at the university, that you can create a course to teach for different faculty. So any PhD students who are here at faculty of science or faculty of fishery, they have to come to your institute to take this course about the philosophy, because by the end we will get doctoral philosophy of something, and we didn't study any philosophy. So why not? You can just make something like this.
Yeah,
So yeah, please.
No, I like very much this approach that is not only based in trying to map the job market and see how can we fit, but also, as Christina said, work to create a market, and
Yes.
that's a more active approach, and that's I think where the most potential lies.
If I could just
Mhm.
follow up on that quickly, I mean, if you also increase the exposure to philosophy and its use and its principles to people in other areas of study, you are also, in one sense, in the long term, helping build the labor market, because those people, when they start working, and they get out and they get the opportunity, they have a candidate who is has a degree in philosophy. Those people will already have, from their own studies, this understanding of how philosophy can help, and they could see, because the initial challenge will be convincing employers why to bring on, building this job market. So if you also start by working with academics and graduate and students in other areas of knowledge and showcasing how philosophy can help, including courses in those other degree studies, you are, but for the long term, helping to create your own job market.
Fantastic.
Sorry, Shabi, I kept you just one minute or less than a minute. Actually, this is a good point, Christina, that you highlighted. We, during the last workshop, we had the same problem with a professor in IT from Varna University. He saw that the number of the students that joined the university in his department is dropped very sharply. And he suggested to prepare a course, short course for 3 lectures, like an introduction course. Any students who come to the university, they will attend this course. And in this course, he just tried to highlight what is the importance of this topic. So like a very simple introduction course, 2 lectures, for example, about why the philosophy is important, why other disciplinary can get from studying philosophy. This can attract students to the department. Yeah. So now the time for you, Shabi. You can answer.
I just wanted to go through some points here, and I'll just my life example. When I was in the biology career in Spain, we had this open market, like the FACDAC kind of thing, where you had a lot of companies coming to say what could we work on. And unfortunately for me, my university was really focused on the more medical biology aspect. So from, I would say, 40 to 50 stands, there were 2 that were willing to get a field biologist. One of them was the military, that they could use us as mine detectors, which is really related to field biology, as you know. Mines grow in arid, in different rainforest areas. And the second place was as helper to medical biologists, because we know how to use the lab. In reality, there are plenty of different options. So one promise that you were saying before, Melina, was to map the market, because we only see what we think we have. It's usually more than that. And then my second comment, and now this goes more specific to philosophy. There's also, it is the base of plenty of things we do in life, or everything, depending on what school you want to follow. And we're now flooded by all this, how it's called, the life trainer, life coach, some fancy word like that, which builds on the foundations of philosophy. But of course, we've not had the clear link that philosophy and the mental well-being has a big part in what we are. And that's a philosophical question. Where are we going? That's a philosophical question. All these big questions that are dependent on a philosophical background. And
What do you want to be?
Yeah, it's all these WH questions. So there is one part that is not only look at the available market, is also look at what part of the market has been taken by people that should not be doing it. And in that way, you can outcompete, because if you say I'm a philosopher with expertise in life decisions, and that would be a kind of way of putting philosophy into an academic term, then you're actually giving an extra accreditation to a person that says, I was a week in Nepal and now I discovered the light. And with that, there is the next point, which is also that would be interesting to sit and talk with companies. What are they looking for? So go from academia, that's where we have the freedom to actually go and ask without limits and say, hello, I'm an academic working at the University of Tromsø, and I would like to introduce my students to the industrial world or what the different parts of business. How could we be part of this business in a way that everyone gets benefited? And surprisingly, you will get a lot of responses. I would just one example, and then I leave Tina the floor. In a supermarket chain in Spain, they were having issues with how to conserve the meat in these vacuum packs for longer. And they had very different options, different alternatives. And at one point, they asked a biologist, a field biologist, may I say. And it was just a friend of a friend, a completely random question. And then this guy said, well, if you put nitrogen, they will have no oxygen and no CO2. And then you're going to slow the whole process a lot. Nitrogen is easy, cheap, available. It will not add cost to the bottom line. The supermarket tried it, and now it's a standard in plenty of supermarkets. So this was a need that was not necessary until they asked, until you actually go outside the established thing. So those are my points.
Thank you, Shabi. Maybe Tina, just I comment on Shabi and then your comment. Actually, I didn't highlight what is a Cloud Earth Eye. This will be like the introduction part of our second day, just to tell you what the Cloud Earth Eye project itself. But if we are speaking about sort of some activity that you will do during this 3 weeks training or 3 weeks part of this workshop, maybe you can think about like some activities that you can do next year. Like Shabi said, that going to the business sector and asking them what is the needs. And instead of going to the business sector, hopefully the corona situation will be okay, to invite them for a workshop or seminar that will bring people from the philosophical school here at Tromsø University and bring some from the business sector and just sit together and discuss what the business sector needs from the philosophical here and how you can modify your courses in order to fit their needs. So this can be an idea of a small project or so. Yeah. Then Tina?
Yes, I just had a comment. I think it's really important to add philosophy to many fields, but and also I was just commenting on my background in science. I have a friend in Canada. They actually did. It was mandatory for them to start, but it's not university. It's college or högskola in I guess in Norway, and it was interesting because she did, to become a technician, that mandatory philosophy for the whole time. And I think it's really lacking here in university level. Science, it's a lot of reflection, a lot of, you kind of question things. So philosophy is almost mandatory to start questioning things around you. It's a really important way of thinking. And this could also be an idea for a course or project or trying to integrate it more into different fields in university, which will help for the markets sector. I was just wanting to did this comment.
Yeah, please, Sabina.
Yes, also I really don't know I don't know much about education, like pre-university education in Norway, but is philosophy obligatory course or at least elective course in videregående skoles in Norway? Is there anything like that?
No. My son in third year of secondary school and he studies science, but I don't think there is any philosophical course there.
So I think that this is also field where you should go. I mean, we are trying to do same thing with geology and usually it doesn't work, but maybe you will be more successful So I think that also there are plenty of things that should be built better in education of kids. I mean, already from middle year programs, then to Vidragone Skole. So I know that Norwegian system, it's quite different from systems in Southern Europe, but kids can kind of easily go through Vidragone Skole without having either natural science or social science. So I know that it's also not good to mix everything together and kind of put too pressure on young generations. But I think that small classes, like a more but smaller subjects would be beneficial, because I mean, most of kids when they're 16, they still don't know where they will go. And if they never get in contact with philosophy or, I don't know, psychology, no matter which topic, they even don't know what philosophy is. And I mean, I forgot probably most of things that I learned, but when I was in gymnasium, we had the 2 years of philosophy. And I mean, I think that the things that I learned there are kind of built in my thinking, though I ended up in natural science. So I think that this is also something where universities should make something like a pressure to in general to educational system in Norway to build some of really essential disciplines. I mean, yeah, philosophy basically it's a start of science. So to build these basic disciplines in educational program, in at least at Vidragone level.
Very important comment, Sabina. Yeah, I completely agree. If the student who will come to university, they don't know that there is a subject called philosophy, why I will join this philosophy part? I don't know there is philosophy. Yeah. Chabi?
Just piggybacking on that comment, it's also, even in whatever field you work in life, philosophy is basic for the critical thinking part of it, which is something that the society is lacking right now. We can't talk all these fake news, all these problems with hoaxes, and that we should be able to think through slowly and realize that, no, this doesn't make sense. So once again, it's about marketing properly and thinking, how can we include this? Because we're paying the consequence in the long run if we don't include. And now we're talking about philosophy, but it's plenty of subjects that are necessary. It's like when you have these people thinking that milk, chocolate milk, may come from darker cows.
Yeah.
That's of course it's a 5-year-old kid thought, but you don't know how far up can it go if you don't solve it.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, probably. I mean, we will, yeah, maybe also during this course, I will do some reading on philosophy in geology or in geoscience. But exactly this thing that Francisco mentioned. So, for instance, I mean, again, I'm talking from my field. We see nowadays everyone wants green shift and transition to renewable energies, but no one wants to have mine in backyard. And you need metals. So, I mean, we have to decide what we will do, or maybe we should just need another type of life where we will give up on electric cars. I mean, maybe we don't need cars. And all these questions are really essential for society. But I have impression that also in technology, in the natural sciences, everyone looks just for his or her own problem. But philosophy should be kind of glue to bring all these essential questions together to help to society.
I think now, Melina, you are the lucky person here, because simply all of us, maybe we have computer science, we have geology. I don't know, Christina, what's your background?
Oh, my background is marine biology, but also teaching English as a foreign language and currently working in international projects. So my background is all over the place.
So you are based in Arctic marine biology?
I used to be. I have a bachelor's in marine biology, a master's in oceanography. I did research in Antarctic science. And then I got hit by the crisis in 2008 and recycled into doing project management. I was going to work in environmental projects, but I got dragged into international projects cooperation.
Yep.
And in between, I have basically financed almost all my studies teaching English as a foreign language, including at university level for sciences. So it's, like I say, I'm all over the place.
Maybe this is a good
I have a good
opportunity.
viewpoint of different aspects.
Actually, I think this is good point of opportunity because we didn't introduce ourselves. Maybe we can have like a very short round. Who is do what? Just because this will be used tomorrow, because tomorrow by the end of the day or the second day of the workshop, by the end of the second day, we will try to like coupling together like in small group. Like for example, Milana can go coupling to someone else who would like to develop one course together or something like this. So it will be important just to introduce ourselves. So maybe Chabi, you can start.
I'm Xavier Francisco. I work at the biology building at University of Tromsø, and my main forte is on data analysis nowadays. So I'm the nerd guy behind the R code usually.
Yep, thanks, Xabi. And Tina?
My name is Sina, and I'm also working at the Arctic Marine Biology Department. Also with Shabi and Tamer, but I'm not a nerd. But I'm working mostly with maps. Right now I'm working on some projects with the semi-console and making some maps on reindeers husbandry. Yeah.
Yep. And maybe Sabina as well, you would like to introduce yourself a second time?
I mean, I was talking for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
so I think that you have heard everything about me. Yeah, my name is Sabina, and I'm a geochemist working at University of Tromsø in mostly on topics relevant for mineral resources.
And Muhammad, I think?
You can call me Ashraful.
Ashraf, yeah.
Ashraful, or everyone calls me Ash. I work at the medical faculty, like Faculty of Health Sciences, and my background is pharmacy. Then I got into biomedical science, and now I am mainly working with in the cancer field and trying to develop different types of imaging probe inside the body to detect cancer.
Yep. And then Milena?
Yeah, Melina.
Melina, yep.
Now, first, I would like to only thank you, all of you, for very, very helpful insights. Second, introduce myself then. I'm Melina Duarte. I'm an associate professor at the Department of Philosophy in Tromsø, and I also work as a guest researcher at the Center for Women's and Gender Research at the university, where I coordinated the prestige project on gender balance in academic in research leadership. Perhaps those who are in Tromsø have certainly heard about the project before. Yeah, and my research is on inclusion of minority or integration of disadvantaged groups in many different contexts. Academia is one of them, but my areas of expertise are political philosophy and ethics.
I don't know, Obi, are you with us?
Yes. My name is Obi. I mostly work with in our IT aspect of open research data. So that's what I'm doing, and I've worked together with Tamer during our open polar system. So that's mostly what I do.
Thanks. So about myself, I am Tamer Abu Alam. I am like Christina somehow. So my background in geology. I am a petrologist. I worked in geology for almost 20 years. But the beginning of this year, I decided to make career shift. Actually, this career shift is started 5 years ago. I started to be involved more in open science data, research data, big data, things like this. And this year I start to be shifted a bit. So now I am sitting at the Arctic Marine Biology as well, coordinating a project called Cloud Earth Eye. As I told you that in the next session, I will try to explain more about Cloud Earth Eye. But this is something to build competence in academic level, how to use big data in environmental science, circular economy, sustainability, and other things. But of course, one of the things that we see in Cloud Earth Eye, that we can't build such competence without integrate our fields together. And to integrate our field together, we need to get philosophy in geology, geology in chemistry, and then we can build such multidisciplinary courses. This is why we started to think to create or to make this workshop, just to brainstorm and to make something together.
I'd just like to add that, so looks like I'm the only one here who's actually not actively teaching, but I wanted to bring in that, what I think I can help with the discussions is like this, is that, so for the past 7 years, I've been working on capacity building projects in higher education. So what is now falls under the Erasmus Plus. And the focuses of the work I've been doing on have mostly been multidisciplinary, looking on fields like climate change and bringing researchers together from different areas, or on developing sustainable campuses. And also a lot of fostering work done in universities in the developing world to increase the employability and entrepreneurship skills of graduates. And so one of the issues that we have been talking a lot in some of the projects I've worked on in terms of employability and entrepreneurship is the importance of integrating some of these skills and real world cases within the academic curriculum for the students to get developed. So it is an issue we've been talking, I've been talking with researchers and professors, and also employment center staff from universities, well, around the world for the past few years, on exchanging ideas and thinking how this can be done. And yeah, so I've been talking a lot about it, how to do it in the developing world. And I thought this workshop would be an interesting way to also exchange ideas on how it's done in Europe. Also, disclaimer, so that afterwards I can also get ideas for other projects I'm working on in the developing world. So I'm hoping also to export kind of, thoughts, what we're thinking, and see how I can apply it right now in the Philippines. I'm working on a project in the Philippines on employability. So,
Okay.
yeah.
This is great. This is knowledge of exchange. So most probably after we finish our session today, I will drop you an email, Christina, because now I am in a process to develop a small project, Erasmus Plus project, and it's mainly about this topic. So I most probably need your help just to storm to get some ideas. So this is good. This is show how things is connected just within 1 hour session. So yep.
Happy to help.
Yep, thank you very much. I would like to close this first day, but I would like to add one information, because I know that some of you already came from the foundation course that is running by Result at University of Tromsø. So these people who are coming from this course, by the end of our workshop, I will inform Robert that you already attended the workshop. And as you know, this is a 35 teaching hour. So you will get this 35 teaching hour will be involved in the frame of the course. So I think in September, you will get this certificate with 200 hours in total. For the rest, yeah, please, Sabina.
Yeah, for the rest.
For
yes.
the rest, for the rest, there is a certificate will come from the project that you already get this 35 hour. This 35 hour actually is divided in 2 parts. So just to be or to attend this 3 days workshops, this is 15 hour. Each day is around 5 hour, 4 hour. So this is 15 hour. If you succeeded during this period of 2-3 weeks to just come with idea, just have a page of an idea of a course that maybe connect 2 or 3 person of you in a place, or maybe just multidisciplinary courses with someone else outside the group here, this is 20 hours. I know that most of us now here are from Tromsø University, so I don't know if Result can issue this certificate. I think it will be a good benefit for us if we can convince them to give us this certificate, this certified certificate for the people who are outside this course, this foundation course. But if not, at least the course will prepare, or the Cloud Earth Eye will prepare this certificate. And this will be, the Cloud Earth Eye is a project under umbrella of the EU. So the LECO of the EU and the EIT raw material will be on the certificate. So I think it would be like a high value certificate. And for the people from the foundation course, I think also you will get this certificate. So you will get this 200 certificate from the foundation course, and you will get this 35-hour certificate from the course. Yep. So maybe we can meet at 12:40. So like 50-minute break for lunch.
Yeah.
Yep. Super. So see you in 50 minutes.
Well, as a Spaniard, I'll be eating it when we finish, but I'll go make myself some coffee and have a snack.
Yep.
There's no way I can eat now.
Actually, I will be here. If you like, we can just discuss. I just will make some coffee and I come back. So
Okay, I'll go make another cup of tea also, and then if
yeah, and I will be online. If you would like just to discuss something, we can.
Yeah.
Yep. So see you. Bye bye.